You guys have seen over the past few weeks since all this rioting and protesting has started, there's been an active attack on several police officers. Where you're from, Jeffrey, over in Oakland, California, Officer David Dorn was murdered, who was a black officer, and we have not seen protesters make any noise about that. We've seen another officer shot and killed in Florida. And another one was hit with a hit and run. Do you think the media is guilty at all for stirring up these protesters and this anti-cop narrative to where just no one has any respect for police officers right now? We just seen Live PD and the show Cops, which has been on the air since the 80s, get canceled. Rob, you can, 100%. Or Jeffrey, you can answer that first.
No, go for it, Rob.
Or Rob, you can.
No, I've always said this, that the media is definitely hyping this up, and they're trying to get a reaction from people. Because again, and I will always say this, I've tweeted this over a dozen times, and I actually did an article about it, Black Lives Matter, on megamedia.org. If Black lives truly matter, someone needs to tell Black people that it matters. If Black lives truly matter, and if we have all this, violence against Black people by the police, why didn't someone tell Barack Obama when he was president for 2 terms? Now, yes, there are issues within the police department. There are a few bad apples, and it does seem that whenever something takes place, it is highlighted. We had George Floyd, and now we have this guy in Atlanta. Before then, Rashid, and before then there was another gentleman who was killed in Georgia. So when you look at it, one could say, oh my God, this is constantly happening to Black men. But when you look at the whole scheme of things, look at it across the board, you see that whites are also killed by police. And it shouldn't happen with anyone. That being said, why isn't anyone concerned, as I said earlier, with the lives that are lost in Chicago, Baltimore, and Detroit? Those Black lives are equally important. And Barack Obama was the president from 2018 to 2016. And up under his reign, 39 Blacks were killed. And the only thing he had to say was the police are bad. He didn't try to unify us. He didn't try to say, hey, let's look at this, let's do something about it. He had a Democrat Congress and the Senate. So why didn't he try to make a change? He didn't. And the media let him get away with it. So now, the media could care less about Black lives being killed. Their only concern is creating havoc, stirring the pot, so that Blacks won't vote for Donald Trump, mainly Black men. That's their fear. That is the reason why they're constantly putting this stuff out there. They are so afraid that Black men will vote for Trump in droves. Why do Black men like Trump? Because he comes across as a man's man. He gets out there and he gets it done. Black men can identify with that. As far as Black women, okay, the liberals have gotten their heads all screwed up that you can't tell them anything. And I hate to say that. Okay, but that's their agenda. As long as they can get the Black man to turn against this president, have the Black man to think that the boogeyman is out to get you, the boogeyman is a white man. Translation, Donald Trump. They will have won. So yes, they are stirring the pot, but they could care less. They just want to destroy this president by any means necessary.
For me, I think it's scary because I have quite a few boys that I coached that were kids that were in criminal justice, and they became law enforcement. So they kind of spread out across the country, going to do their own thing. And so for me, I worry about them today because of the hatred towards law enforcement. I mean, my son watches Paw Patrol here and there, just like if it's playing. I've never really been a huge fan of it because there's really no learning involved, but at least there's like a positive message, right? And so what you're seeing is like they're attacking anything that has positivity towards the police. Same with Live PD. I didn't really enjoy the show very much, but it was one of my wife's favorite shows. And what we really enjoyed about it was it showed the positive relationship between law enforcement and the minorities and the struggling people that they came across. So you'd see that like hillbilly guy that's having a hard day fighting with his wife and drinking, and the police come and they dissolve the situation without someone going to jail. Or there's that black young teenage girl who's driving and makes a wrong turn somewhere and runs a red light, and instead of giving her a red light ticket, he lets her off with a warning, and that's all shown to the public. So what they've done is they've gotten rid of that positive message so that they can only be the ones delivering a message, as with anything with alternative media or any sort of group that's not giving out the message that the left's trying to just give out at the time. And it's weird because they used to really be in support of emergency with like 9/11, right? It was all about the NYPD and the FYPD. It's like, what happened to the love for emergency care and the paramedics and the law enforcement?
Even 3 weeks ago during the coronavirus, everyone was acting like we were all going to respect our emergency responders now, and how quickly that faded away.
Yeah, well, healthcare are heroes, right? The healthcare workers are heroes. But you didn't see anywhere that the police were heroes. The police were still being villainized, because you would see that, like the video in New York of the young black woman with her son, where they showed the police mob her and drag her away while her son watched. There was no positive police interaction during the COVID, right? You saw them cracking down on people like right-wingers, and that's what I'm trying to tell people. They had the police attack the people that supported the Blue Lives during the COVID. Then the pandemic is over, just in time for all the black protesters to go out and have the police attack them. So now everybody hates the police, and then you can throw this random idea out there, let's defund the police. And then they start, go ahead.
No, I agree.
It's continuous. And what's scary is George Soros, again, a lot of people don't want to believe it, he's funding all the DA races across the country, buying our law enforcement, and they're infiltrating and dropping charges against criminals, rioters, and looters, right? It's just disgusting. We're an upside down world. We live in the twilight zone, and I live 100 miles away from George Soros' son, Alexander, who runs that crazy open society down in Berkeley. And when I'm telling people down at UC Berkeley at the Ann Coulter event, George Soros' son has a PhD from here, he's involved with this, and they're all like, who? I have no idea. The communists are the ones pitting the blacks and the whites against each other, and there's really no racial divide. But what the media is they're controlled by the leftist progressives that want a race war, because that's the only sore spot you have in America.
I don't know if you guys have been paying attention lately, but we've seen Drew Brees. First he came out and said that he would never agree with disrespecting the flag, and now he's just came out with endless apologies like a total sissy. We've got the women's soccer team who now says they will not be standing for the national anthem even though they represent the United States of America. And now you've got the NFL who's just going to unleash the floodgates of protesting, I guess. Are you guys fearful that pro sports are just going to be taken over by the social justice agenda and it just completely take the joy out of watching sports?
Well, you know what I would say, if you want to crack down on that completely, just don't show the national anthem on TV. And don't show it. Let them kneel without being on camera, because that's what it's all about. They want to be on camera. Colin Kaepernick and his whole social justice warrior, are you serious? I've never been a fan of his. I don't know if he's a good football player or not, but the way I see it, he's been sitting out so long. It's all about him. He wants all the attention, because if the NFL is saying, hey, we support you, why don't they hire the guy? Just hire him and put him out of his misery. So I would say, don't show the national anthem, don't show any of that stuff, and let's see how many of them will get on their knees and kneel. And here's the other thing, you want to kneel. Okay, now let's see. How did George Floyd die? Someone was kneeling on him. So do you still want to continue kneeling? You should tell the Democrats, take your knee off of our neck so that we can prosper. That's my point.
Me, personally, I was a season ticket holder with the Oakland Raiders for 8 years. I was an avid fantasy sports guy before politics. I mean, I was as avid as I was at sports as I am in politics, put it that way. So I didn't have another love other than sports. I was a college coach. I coached at Sac State for 5 years before all the PC crap happened. I played college ball. I played really a lot of competitive sports. And for me, the best gift out of all this is the fact that I don't waste my time staring at some screen with a bunch of high-paid sissies with an agenda that really doesn't serve me any good. I spend a lot of time now with my children, doing more things with my family. So if anything, what it did was it brought to light how much time I was spending doing nothing for myself positive. And so for me, I have no problem turning off the television, not watching it. In reality, with Hollywood going the way they've gone, I canceled cable. The only thing I have is internet. My wife keeps a Fire Stick so she can do her Hulu and her Netflix, which I completely do not support, but I allow her to do her thing because she's a human being, and I'm not going to tell her no. But for me, I've cut all the Hollywood, the movies, all the entertainment out of my life, and the entertainment is my children, my hot rod behind me. I go hiking. I'm involved in politics. So for me, let it go. I don't care. They're not going to get my money. They're not going to get my advertising views. They're not going to get anything from me. And it's also, I'm not going to allow my cortisol levels to rise because of some shit that I can't control. So I just let it go. All of it. Just let it go. Let them have it.
Yep.